2024. Pam, you want to go ahead and take attendance?
Yes, I do. Michael Gore,
Here.
Robert Romer,
Here.
Jim Barr,
Jim, can you hear us? We can't
Jim.
see you or hear you. Technical difficulties, maybe.
I'll skip to Michael Lau.
I am here.
We'll just wait a second for Jim to ensure he has audio and can hear us. He wrote in the chat that he's here and has a new laptop. He's working on it.
Good evening. First item of business is a public meeting for a site plan review for 12 Green Road, the new Neshoba Regional High School. So Pam, first off, do you want to give kind of an overview of what this meeting is for, and why they're in front of the board?
Sure. As many of you are aware, the Neshoba Regional High School was approved by all three communities to construct a new facility. They're already in the process of installing geothermal wells and some temporary parking to serve both staff and students during construction, and they've submitted a definitive site plan application to the town for review and approval. It originally goes to the select board under our zoning bylaws, and in May the select board referred it to the planning board for review and comment and approval. So that's what brings it before the planning board this evening. The plans were submitted to the board just last week, so we haven't commenced. We don't have staff review finalized, but in addition to that, there's a lengthy stormwater plans and grading plans that we would request be sent out for peer review services. I think I jumped the gun a little bit without reading the notice. Sorry about that. But
okay.
The school's been meeting with staff through the planning process, and they've worked with public safety to ensure that the phase construction meets their needs and requirements.
Okay. Did you need to read something for this? Is this?
It's a public meeting. I don't necessarily need to.
Yeah, I think it's not a hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do we have representing the school here tonight? I see Joe Milani.
Eric Royce from Castle Booze Associates. We also have Joe Milani from Castle Booze, Chelsea Christensen from Niche Engineering, Marianne Williams from Skanska, and I can never pronounce her name, C. Nigwin from Skanska also. We're prepared to give a kind of a 10,000 foot short presentation on where we're at and where we're planning on going, if you would like. Otherwise, we can sit and listen.
That would be great if you guys can give a presentation and so the other board can see it.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you're seeing it.
Yep.
So this is the existing site right now. The existing school building, the existing parking in front, the student parking on the west side, and the auditorium and existing parent drop off on the east side. The track and field facility out back, the sports facilities out back. The wetland, this is actually the resource area. The wetland area is actually smaller than what's shown here. It's the darker green. And probably importantly, two important things. There's the existing septic treatment plant that's on the west side of the site and the force main that feeds the leaching field way in the back of the site. And then one of our biggest constraints for construction is there's a Tennessee gas pipeline that cuts through the site, basically divides it in two. We've got issues crossing it and bringing utilities back and forth across it. It's a high pressure gas line. It's not the kind of gas line that you put a utility lateral on to supply a house. It's a much bigger thing than that. So we've been working
You
with
don't just call DigSafe for that?
You don't just call DigSafe for that.
Okay.
We've been working very closely with Tennessee Gas to make sure we're meeting all their requirements and not disturbing that pipeline. Also, we've got the intersection of Main Street and Green Road. There's a proposed rotary that's going in there. It's not shown on this. It was supposed to start work this summer, but it's evidently been postponed. But we've designed most everything that we're proposing to work around that rotary and work with that rotary. As part of the schedule, we've started what we call an enabling construction package. We got that through Concom a couple months ago. We also presented it to planning and at that time, just to make sure we were on the up and up with everything. But that project, which is underway right now, is installing number one, geothermal wells underneath the existing tennis courts where those are, and also moving a lot of the parking up front in front of the school so that we have all the parking we need student-wise once school starts again in the fall. And then also rerouting all the utilities around the building and that force main so that we're not disturbing the school programs once school starts up in the fall again. So that was why we broke that out as a separate project, because we were in a rush to get it done so that we're not disturbing school come this fall. So that's the existing conditions. This is the proposed site plan. And it might be hard to see, but the existing building is in here. It's this red outline that's in here. We are building the new building just to the west and north of the existing building, leaving the existing building intact as we're constructing it. And then once the existing building is online and we've moved into it, that the old building will be knocked down and the athletic fields and the parking will be constructed. So as part of that, as part of the whole thing, I'll go into what we're calling the enabling package, which is what's happening right now. And that's this parking area that's happening up front. We've expanded that and that's in the process. We're installing 3 tennis courts. Those are going to be permanent. This parking lot is temporary, but these tennis courts are permanent, just so that the school has tennis online, because we've taken the tennis on the east side of the site offline to drill a domestic well there. And then also we've taken the western courts offline for putting in geothermal wells. And there's a series of geothermal wells there. If you're not familiar with geothermal wells, they're not you're not extracting water out of the ground. It's a closed loop pipe that goes down into the ground and comes back up. So it's the water that's running through that closed loop that's providing the geothermal benefit. So we're not removing water out of the ground, which is usually a concern.
Just transferring the energy from the water to the ground.
Correct. So you could see here in the purple is where the force main is. Most of this is existing force main for the sanitary system for the school. We've rerouted that, or we're in the process of rerouting that around the proposed building so that we don't have to disturb the school once it's in session again. And then also this blue line that goes all the way around the school is a new fire service line. And that is for safety and for usability once they start actually building the school. They haven't started the foundations yet. They haven't started we've got a lot ripped up out there, but they really haven't started the heart of the project, which is starting to dig the holes for the foundation and set the conditions for that. So that's the enabling project. And let me get back to the site plan again. So once that's done, as I stated, the existing building will be torn down and we'll build the parking lot and the bus drop and the baseball field. What happens is when that rotary gets built, the idea is for traffic circulation that buses are entering the new entry, which is basically where the existing entry is, on the west side of the site. Buses circulate around the back of the building. They drop off on the
East side of the-
southeast corner of the building, and then circulate out, and only buses exit onto Green Road. Parents come in for the parent drop off, and they come in and they stack along the driveway here and drop off at the main entry, and then they circulate out to back to the rotary. So that's kind of the traffic circulation that's happening there. As far as the parking is concerned, we have all the handicap
sorry, Eric.
parking. Yep.
Eric, is the entrance on Green Road the same one that exists today?
It moves maybe 5 feet to the east, but yes, it'll
Okay.
be pretty much the same one.
Okay, thanks.
The track and field facility stays almost exactly where it is. The only things that we're doing there is we're providing a new lift to the press box, handicap accessible lift. And then to get everything in for this new building, we need to bolster that wall that's on the west side of the existing track in this location here. And then we're also building a handicap ramp to get from this lower level of the school up to that track level.
This track is about 14 feet above the school finished floor level, the new school.
Yep. And then once we're done with all that, and the contractor is going to use where the existing tennis courts are or were, they're going to use that for their trailer farm and staging equipment and materials during construction. Once they're done with that area gets remediated as far as regraded, and then we're putting in post-tension concrete courts, basically in the same configuration that is out there now, or was out there previously. Joe, do you want to talk about schedule a little bit? This is the schedule from one of our MSBA presentations.
Sure.
But
The enabling package was bid, and as Eric said, is underway. The purpose of that is to be sure that the school in the fall is construction ready, basically, so that the construction can proceed, but that any utilities or parking or a safety egress or anything like that has been constructed previous, so that the school can just open and function and not be working around the construction. So that's a big push over this summer to get that completed. It's always a summer slammer, as we call it, and that's on process now and is underway. Under bid right now is what is bid package 3. That is for site work, not including landscaping, but site work, structure for concrete and foundations, and elevators. Believe it or not, we're doing elevators because we need to, number one, make sure that the elevator pits that are coming from the specific elevator company are in place so that we can make the foundations of them the correct size. But also, elevators are notorious for people not bidding them, and they wind up getting put out to bid after as part of a general, pickup package by the construction manager. And we want to make sure that we don't have a delay later on in the process by having that bid too late in the process. Coming up in August, we'll have our bid package 4, which will be for the structural steel bid package. And then following that will be a 60% CD package that's sent into the MSBA at the state for review and approval after being reviewed and approved by the school building committee. Following that in October will be another early bid package, which is not on this list because we've only just decided to issue it for pre-purchase of some electrical switchgear equipment and the generator. What our construction manager has found recently is that electrical equipment is taking up to 16 months to procure and get on site, and rather than have a delay in the working of the building, we've decided to try and give ourselves a few months of buffer to purchase that earlier than would be purchased under regular bid through the electrical file subbidder. And then coming up after that in January of 2025 will be when the majority of the project is bid for all of the major filed subtrades: HVAC, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, fire protection. The architectural packages will bid at the same time: masonry, drywall, etc. And that buyout will probably take a period of anywhere from 4 to 6 months to complete, with a GMP expected sometime, I believe, in May or June. Mary Ann, is that what your anticipation is also?
Muted.
Definitely mute. Okay. And that's really it. The
Joe, real
package
quick,
that was.
Hey, Joe,
Go ahead,
real
I'm
quick,
sorry.
the dates, I'm sorry, can you scroll up, and what do the dates represent? The opening bid and when the bid closes, or when the work finishes? I just can't see a header on what those dates represent. Oh, there
Start
we go.
and
Start.
finish.
Start and finish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's generated from a Gantt chart schedule.
Yep. Okay.
So I guess the big picture thing is that we're not looking to occupy the building and probably until probably 2027.
2027, fall of
And-
2027.
And then,
Right.
and then the site work and that parking and the fields won't be constructed until, or won't be finalized until, the summer of 28.
Correct, after the existing building is taken down, after the new building is complete.
So in the package that you've got right now, you've got, the site plans, the stormwater, report, as well as some basic renderings of what's happening on the site as far as, the basic floor plans that we're working with. And then also, some of the exterior renderings that we're proposing for the site at this point. So these are all in the package you've got, or if they're not, let us know, and they should be in that package. So overall, utilities wise, there's a lot going on. We've been working with Concom on a lot of this. Concom's walked the site twice now. We just staked out some more stuff for them earlier this week, and they're going to get out there again, hopefully this week. We're hoping they're approaching a point where they can vote on the project. We've been in front of them since May with the full project. But here you could see a lot of these systems in magenta are the underground storage systems that we are proposing. And it's really a nest of underground systems, mostly because we're trying to work around the existing school building and then trying not to rebuild as much as possible from what we're putting in temporarily and what we're doing permanently. We are saving the existing outfalls at the existing wetlands where we can. And we are also creating some kind of rain gardens, one in the
Right.
back of the site. And there's one up in the front of the site also. One of the issues is you'll notice we're not crossing that gas pipeline with any drainage. That's because Tennessee Gas gets a little jittery when you're putting a gravity fed pipe over the pipeline, because that could always change during construction, and and that would throw everything off. So we've designed around that by getting all the drainage on one side of the pipeline and then having this rain garden basin on the other side of the pipeline going off into the woods.
Deep is the Tennessee Gas pipeline buried?
Varies between 3 and 5 feet right now. You can't exceed 9 feet of cover. We've had extensive discussions with them, and actually Tennessee Gas is managed, the site work is managed through a company called Kinder Morgan, and their site representative has been on site virtually every day so far since the site work has started for the enabling package.
And then another thing to note is right through here on Green Road is our proposed utility connection out to the street. There's an existing utility connection here. We were out there walking it last week and it's somewhat cleared. There's a lot of brush that's come in over time. But that's what we're proposing as part of the planning permit. The only real constraint we have with planning right now is that National Grid won't give us any sort of design or services for confirming that we could put this utility connection where we want until we have a zoning permit in hand.
Actually, what they said is they won't give us an engineer to do any of the confirmation or design of the site for their systems until they're assured that the planning board has signed off on the plan, and they're asking for a stamped and signed plan. I think a letter would suffice, but they want proof, as they said, that they're assured that the plan has been done, so because they don't have the manpower to go back and relook at plans over again. So they want to make sure that the planning board has accepted the plans and that we're moving forward with the work before they'll assign an engineer from NGrid to work with us on the design of the system. So what you're seeing on the plan is our best understanding and professional guess at what that system will look like, all the way up to about an inch from Green Road on my screen anyway, about 2/3 of the way up before it doglegs left. Is the existing line that goes through a series of 3 poles down to an underground handhole, and then it goes on underground conduit from that point over to the existing school. And we're simply going to continue that over to the new school. But we can't get them to look at anything until we have approval by the planning board.
Are you increasing the service going into the new school?
No.
Really? Okay.
No, this is a new requirement that just came out in a recent guide from NGrid. We got an extensive, we've been back and forth with them a few times. We've got an extensive email from them explaining why, and the gist of what I got was that they don't have the manpower to look at stuff twice. And so give us the final plan and then we'll start.
So we have Chelsea from Niche Engineering on here too. Chelsea, did I miss anything? Any comments you want to make?
Just that, all the stormwater systems are designed to exceed the state stormwater standards. Any water from the vehicle areas will be going, just turning off my video because I think I'm freezing. Did you lose me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we got
All right.
you. There's no video.
Am I back now?
Yep.
Yes.
I got a notice that my internet was unstable. So I was just saying that all the vehicle areas will be treated for water quality before being put into to meet all the recharge requirements for the state standards. All the calculations are in the stormwater report received. And reducing all the rates and volumes of runoff to meet the state standards. Eric Mentor's below grade.
Thank you. So that's pretty much the 10,000 foot walkthrough of where we're at and where we're going. Any questions?
So on the previous sheet there, so the pink structures, those were all underground drainage, correct? And you said the
Yes.
goal is to these are going to be installed now, presumably, or
They're
on
on
What?
site now.
Just this one here is going to be installed now.
okay.
And that
And-
stays in place.
And that's sufficient for that size of the temporary parking lot that you're putting in.
Correct.
Okay. And then for the final phase, you're just gonna tie into that and add on the additional,
Right. It's
Yeah.
that one right there.
it's
Yeah.
that one. Okay, I see.
Exactly, yeah.
And
Mike,
then-
can I
Go ahead.
have an additional question about the drainage? I understand that it meets state standards. This is a building that's going to be around for the next 50 years. Has anybody done climate change extrapolation of precipitation for this area and whether this system, using the criteria and the state standards, would handle it?
We have not done extra calculations, but we can certainly look at that.
Yeah, in view of, we'd like this building to be around and not be modified any more than necessary. That probably would be prudent.
Yes, we've been discussing that internally as a standard practice through our company. So we'll go back and talk about that some more.
Thanks.
And Chelsea, you broke up a little bit earlier. Is the water being treated as it's discharged, or does most of it just discharge into the wetlands on the west side there?
Everything that vehicle area and most of it gets treated through infiltration anyway. Anything in vehicle areas gets pre-treatment prior to infiltration. So very little runs off without any sort of treatment, really only anything that goes on the grass. The tennis courts go into infiltration systems.
Okay, thanks.
So almost everything gets some sort of treatment.
And on that point, is there any kind of monitoring or oil water separation system in that to assure that you don't get anything from parking lots into the wetlands?
We don't have monitoring. There's an operation and maintenance plan that's required, and oil water separators as part of the treatment train
Good, thank you.
that you will see in the reports.
Yeah, this looks great. I'm really excited for the new school. My oldest daughter unfortunately won't get it, but my son will get 2 years out of it, so he's excited for that.
Well, my
Anyone else on the
grandkids will
board?
see it in 10 years.
Anyone else on the board or on the call have questions?
I do. My question's on the gas pipeline. Is there can you speak at all to the setback requirements of the pipeline to the new school?
There's a 25-foot buffer straddling the pipeline that we're required to maintain. Anything that's crossing that, whether it's a driveway or a sidewalk or forced main for the septic, has to go through Kinder Morgan for their review. The pipeline, it goes basically from like Tennessee or Pennsylvania all the way to Maine. It's got an easement that runs basically all the way up the eastern seaboard, and it's only tapped off when you have a major supply place to take off that gas. It's not necessarily high pressure, it's just high volume that's transferring it from one place to another. The 25-foot buffer on the gas pipeline is considered by Tennessee Gas to be more than sufficient for the work that's going on, and the clearances above the pipe that we have to maintain, both for the surface grade and for any crossing utilities, is also something that is reviewed and approved by Tennessee Gas. And whenever we do any work within spitting distance of that pipeline easement, there needs to be someone from Kinder Morgan on site to observe and approve the work. So there is no mistakes happening or no issues happening that would lead to a future issue with the pipeline.
Is there any classification change necessary for the pipeline? I'm just, with the occupancy of the building being moving in closer proximity to the pipeline,
No,
So,
we haven't
you know,
been,
sometimes these pressure gas
Yeah.
lines have setbacks for certain types of buildings such as schools.
no, we have not been told that by Kinder Morgan. And they've had several iterations of both the site plans and our floor plans to review and provide comment. And we've had some comments from them to move this or change that. That's the reason that, as Eric mentioned, we no longer have any of the site drainage crossing the easement because of their concerns about the possible future change just on site to meet, conditions that might be something that gets too close to their pipeline. But everything else that they offer, clearance requirements and bedding requirements and notification requirements, for example, when the electrical duct bank crosses from the generator, which you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, that concrete, when it crosses the pipeline, has to be stained red. So that when they open up and dig that, the red concrete alerts people that, okay, this is something different. It requires warning tape too, but it also requires red concrete. So we have a series of different requirements we have, but as far as I know, there is no requirement for any other treatment and distance from the building from the pipeline than what we've got.
What is the size and pressure of the gas line?
The size, I think it's either 24 or 36 inches in diameter. I'd have to look on their plans to see. I don't know what the pressure is, but I can find that out from their representative. We did have to do last fall some vacuum excavation along the pipeline to establish the grade of the pipeline in relation to the existing grade and had it surveyed. There wasn't any real documentation as to that. That was put in way back before the original school was built. And so there wasn't any documentation. And so we had to do some documentation to verify where that was so that we could validate where we're crossing and the coverage we're going to provide. I can ask the representatives from Tennessee Gas or Kinder Morgan what the pressure is in the gas line, if that's something you want to know.
I am curious, seeing the proximity of the new building to the existing gas line. It just makes me wonder if Tennessee Gas's regulatory agency is aware of it, or if they need to be aware of it, or if there's any additional measures needed due to the new proximity. Like an
Yeah,
automatic,
you can ask.
like maybe an automatic shut valve or something like that might be needed.
Yep, we can ask.
They have the plans and they've been on site a number of times, so
Who,
It doesn't-
they
doesn't
are
hurt to
aware of the
ask. We can do
proximity.
that.
the regulatory agency has been on site? Or the company?
Tennessee Gas.
The company, Kinder Morgan, who manages the pipeline for Tennessee Gas, is of it on site.
Do they
I'm
pack
not sure
that
who the
pipeline
regulatory
in the
agency
fall?
would be. I'm sorry?
Did they pack the pipeline in the fall? Is there significant variability in the pressure?
If they pack the pipeline?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I'm sorry, I don't know what that means.
And most gas companies, in order to accommodate the increased demand in the winter, increase the pressure and use the pipe basically as a reservoir for gas. And it increases the pressure at times and then reduces it substantially with demand.
Okay,
so
I
you
can
get
ask
a-
that question too.
Yeah, I'm
Like I said, it isn't a pipeline that services communities or houses or commercial buildings or anything like that. This is a transportation pipeline that simply ships the gas from, like I said, Tennessee or Pennsylvania somewhere up to Maine. It's been here for, I guess, 50 years, so 60
Yeah,
years.
but those are the ones that they normally pack.
It could be, and I would hope that would be something that would be their consideration for safety, but I'm not a gas line expert and I wouldn't know that, so I will ask the question. I'll
Yeah,
get you an answer as quick as I can from them, and I'll forward that on. If I do you want me to wait until our next meeting to give you that, or you want me to forward that to Pamela and she can forward it onto the board?
Well, yeah, depending on the answer. Yeah, Pamela getting that would be fine. My concern with the background in high pressure piping and fatigue analysis of pipelines is exactly that. So if they can, I'm sure they've looked at it. It just would be comforting to know that they've done some actual analysis of this pipeline and the variability of pressure and what the fatigue cycles are and whether that would contribute to the risk associated with close by high school.
Yeah.
And that
and-
pipe does run through a lot of town. I'm sure everyone's aware when you
Oh, yeah,
drive
we
around
are.
Yeah.
Green Road, Harvard Road, Sugar, all that area.
Yeah, and although the building can't be on top of it, it wasn't as close before, there was playing fields, the baseball field was right on top of it, as well as the retaining wall for the existing football stadium actually is within the easement, and they're not too happy about that, but we're not moving that at this point.
No, I'm not terribly concerned. I just would be comforted by the answer.
And in that drawing, what is the oval in the upper right above kind of where the bend is? That goes through the
It's a
buffer zone?
playground, it's an outside playground with a little trike track for pre-K. There are 2 pre-K classrooms at that corner of the building.
I see, okay.
Yeah, and that's an exterior playground.
You guys answered my questions pretty good. I guess to wrap up, what I was getting at was, I don't know if it would be nice to know that there's no change in the class of pipeline due to the building being shifted and there's no setback needed due to the new occupancy and distance. It would be nice to see that kind of black and white. I know people have been out there and everybody's aware of it, but it would be really nice to see that in writing or something black and white saying it doesn't need to have any additional safety measures or setbacks.
We can get that to you.
I have a question about parking during construction, if I can through the chair. Eric, how many spaces are currently on site and how many will be provided in the fall when you are finished with the temporary parking area?
There are there's 400 and change on site existing. And with the temporary parking area, we're pretty much matching that. I think we lose like 5 spaces.
And then you have 440 on your final site plan, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And just so folks know, to be totally transparent, the contractor is arranging with, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, the contractor is negotiating with some folks across the street to provide additional parking for contractors' employees' vehicles.
And different places in town that they can, either shuttle to or walk from to get to the site. Yes, yeah.
Can you clarify those are pedestrian vehicles?
Yeah, the construction vehicles aren't allowed to park in those areas. It would only
Okay.
be, pickup trucks and cars that the employees that are coming into the site
Okay.
would be using. Yeah, we don't allow construction vehicles to be parked in other places and to idle, and we don't allow them to stand and idle in the driveway. Eric, can you zoom in next to the tennis court? So right now you can see the 3 lanes coming out next to the parking lot. That's basically the existing exit coming out of the high school now onto Main Street. And then beside that, on the other side of the construction fence, is the construction entrance. The gate for that is set back at the upper right-hand part of the tennis court so that vehicles coming in don't queue up onto Main Street, and they're not allowed to idle. So they come up to the site, the gate is open, they come onto the site, but they're not allowed to sit in front of that gate and idle. That's something that Consigli CM is very conscious of. They've also issued some delivery plans to anybody who's bidding the job that would identify locations and routes they have to take to get from various main highways to get to the building. So we're sure they're not going through neighborhoods or non-main streets to get from point A to point B. We just don't want to have neighborhoods disrupted and have complaints from neighbors that, trucks are parking down the street from them and they're causing a ruckus and ruining their streets. Just as a point of note, KBA, Consigli and Skanska were the team that worked on Attleboro High School that has just recently been finished. A note is that they had the same kind of truck routes and concerns from the neighborhoods in Attleboro, since that school is sort of nestled within a community of residential houses. And they basically terminated the contract of one of the delivery driving companies for delivering stone and site stuff to the site, because they were taking the wrong turn, consistently going out through a neighborhood because it was a shorter trek for them to get where they wanted to go instead of going the long way around on the specified route. So they're very conscious of it. They want to keep a positive relationship with the neighborhood and with the town, and will be diligent on making sure that truck traffic and truck parking is managed to everyone's understanding.
So so this screen is what the parking is gonna be basically in the fall, correct?
Yes.
This
For the
year,
next
yes.
2 years. Yep.
The next 2
Mhm.
years. And so you're getting the additional spaces that you've lost on the west side by basically bringing the parking lot closer to Main Street. Is that correct?
Yes.
Partly closer to Main Street and a lot closer to the driveway next to the tennis courts.
Okay.
There's a
And
large green space between the driveway and the existing parking lot that goes away
yes,
temporarily.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of trees kind of on the Main Street part. I see those on the plan. Are those all staying or some of those going? The existing trees, I mean.
These ones down here are proposed to stay, the ones right along the street. Some of
Yep.
the ones set back a little further are going.
I see, okay, yeah. And the traffic flow is gonna stay the same as it is today? Is that correct? So bus coming in, I think they
So
come in on the Green Road side.
the bus traffic will be coming in the same way it comes in now off Green
Yeah.
Road. And then queuing in front of the building, as it
Mhm.
does now. Except hopefully in a single queue rather than a double queue, and then exiting, whereas it does now, on the west driveway going out onto Main Street. Parent drop-off will come in and go up around, and the students will enter on the auditorium entrance on the east side, up where Eric's cursor just was.
And
So we're
that's
actually
similar to what
splitting.
it is currently.
Well, it's similar. Right now, the parents drop off in the first aisle of the parking lot in front of the school, and the kids have to cross the bus traffic to get into the school. This is actually, I think, a little bit safer because
Yeah.
the parent drop off is dropping off immediately to the entrance going into the auditorium, totally separated from the drop off for the buses that are coming and going. I mean, buses in the morning aren't like they are in the afternoon. The buses don't come in and stop and then stay there and all leave together and come in together. They come in and drop off and leave. So there's a constant movement of traffic in the morning that won't be there with parents, students, and buses crossing each other as it does now. So it's actually a little bit safer of, I think, a drop-off process than it is currently.
Yep. And the new spaces that you're getting, so is the existing parking lot staying and you're just adding on to it towards?
For the enabling, yes.
For the enabling, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
mostly concerned with enabling right now for this one, because I mean, so this basically, all the west spaces have been lost at this point, right? That's all construction now, so this is the part, I don't know if you have already done this work or
It's in the process of being done now. They
Okay.
ripped up, they have the hole dug for the pink retention structure that's there. The sort of Quonset huts, I call them, retention structures are on site right now, ready to be installed. The parking area to basically from halfway across the parking lot going right to left, the left-hand half of the parking lot that was the area that was grass the grass has been removed, the soil has been stored, and that will be paved by August 15th. So this parking lot will be complete as it's shown in this diagram by August 15th.
And sorry, I didn't catch it. Is the existing parking lot staying the same, or is that all being ripped up as well?
That's
The part
that's
that's
staying
towards the
there. It's
school.
being restriped, so that
Okay.
you can see the old striping underneath.
Yep,
And actually you can see in gray tone that the parking lot underneath where Eric's cursor is.
yep.
He was moving it, that gray tone underneath is where the existing parking lot is. So it's extending one aisle to the south to the bottom of the sheet and further to the west to the left of the sheet.
So
But it
for
has
the
to be
rest,
restriped to work with the new paving pattern.
yes, so I mean, are you like seal coating over it to hide the old stripes, or is this, I could just imagine that being chaos with the
Yeah,
faint stripes and
the
new
old stripes are
stripes?
getting blacked out
Yeah.
before
Okay.
the new paint goes down.
Okay, and you said so the current schedule is for August 15th to have that completed.
Basically, yes. Yeah, but
And
has to be in place before that people come back to school. That's the point of the
yep,
enabling work.
no,
And
definitely.
the teachers come back the third week of the month. And so we want to make sure that this is available for teachers to use as they're coming in to set up their rooms and do orientations and things like that. The students don't come back until the last week of the month. I think it's the 26th that they arrive back. But all of this has to be ready and you know, they'll be going through some training with people, the monitors and the buses and stuff like that to make sure that they're using stuff in the right way so that they're sure the drop-off process when school starts is seamless. In fact, we're meeting with Consigli and with the school district next week to go over that exact process and how they can utilize some material sent out to parents and the bus drivers to make sure that everything goes off smoothly when we get to August.
So the life cycle of this parking lot is what, 2 or 3 years, and then you rip
Yeah.
it up for the final?
Yep. And then it gets put into the new configuration that Eric showed on the final plan.
And is any of that work on the enabling phase, is that contingent on our approval for anything here? I know we're gonna have our peer reviewer go over some of this. What is sort of your schedule, and maybe that's a question for Pam?
Yeah, you do have jurisdiction over that phase. They had to proceed early just to ensure that the school was ready for the fall and the site could be accessed, but you do have jurisdiction over that.
Sorry, I saw that one gentleman had his hand raised. Mr. Morrissey, did you have a question?
Yeah, good morning.
Identify
Good
yourself.
evening, folks. My name is Scott Morrissey. I'm a neighbor, 34 Fox Run Road. So basically, I could throw a rock to the backside of your project there. Those of us who live on Fox Run Road like the idea that, for the most part, when you're done, everything's going to be, for us, the impact, the tennis courts and that ball field up there are all going to be the same. It's going to be like it was when you started, which is very nice. Just a couple of concerns I've got is the impact to the flow to the wetlands. I'm your neighbor. You follow Tennessee Gas Pipeline on the other side of Fox Run Road. That's my lot. So when the water flows down to your wetland areas, is there any chance that that's going on the other side of Fox Run Road over to the other side of the Tennessee Gas Pipeline? Or is that all being contained on, I'll use the expression, your side of the Fox Run Road area?
It's all going down, or the majority of all these areas goes down to this wetland on the west end of the site.
Yeah.
Which flows toward Fox Run Road. However, it should be noted that the existing site and all those existing parking lots, there's not any water quality treatment on any of those. And the only detention right now is the existing basin was built, I think, in the 90s.
Okay.
So all those systems are intended to reduce peak flows and slowly let out water over time. So
Yeah, and
should be
so
seeing less
our
water.
responsibility is to make sure that we don't send any more water than that goes there right now. So we have to control the rate and the volume of water that goes to each location and make sure it doesn't get there any faster than it does now. And we're actually doing that for the enabling project as well. You saw that temporary basin
Yeah.
that's going in for the temporary parking lot, which is a little above and beyond what you see in a lot of these projects. So we're working very hard to make sure that you don't see any more water than you do now.
Very nice, thank you. I mean, just as a side point, I've worked with Consigli and KBA in the years. They always do a nice job. So that's a secular side. At this point, I'm on the personal side, so it's a little bit different. Can I just ask about the Fox Run Road? I heard you talk about parking. Is there something to make sure that, you know, when you've got 200 guys there working on site, they're not all gonna be parking on Fox Run Road? Is that something that's understood with what's going on?
It's something that Consigli, when they issue their supplemental instructions in their bid packages to each each bidder that's coming onto the site, that it dictates to them where they can park and where they can't park. And as I said, on Attleboro High School, they had some problems where some guys didn't want to park in the parking lot we gave them, that we built a whole huge 350-person parking lot down the street for them to park in. And they didn't want to walk that far, so they decided to park in the lots, in the houses across the street, and they were fired.
All right, well,
Consigli, it doesn't last with Consigli. They take care of it quickly, and they will not tolerate people risking their relationship with the community.
okay, well, and I appreciate that very much. I just didn't see that plan, so I just didn't know if the plan, I wanted to make sure the plan didn't include Fox Run Road, because
No.
if you
no,
looked
no.
again,
No,
I,
no, no.
I know my house is easy. You could park right there and you could walk right up the hill and you're right there at the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No, no, no.
I
If they
understand.
find out someone's doing that, they'll be let go.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you very much. And then the last question, just, am I right in what I heard that your folks are intending fall of 27? That's your goal
Yes.
to be, completed? All right,
No, moving into the new school,
Yeah.
the demolition of the existing school and the construction of the new baseball field and the rest of the parking lots will take another year and a half.
which I just gotta break it to my wife gently that she gets to hear the machines running for only 3 more years. I gotta try to stress that. It's only 3 more years, so. All right, I got it. Thank you folks very much. I appreciate your work. I know it's not always easy, so.
I think
Thank you for what you're doing.
as some form of consolation, the work that you're hearing right now is probably the well drilling for the 800-foot deep geothermal wells that are going under the existing 5 tennis courts, right on the other side of the lot line from you. That work is considered to be completed by the beginning of October, at which point that'll be paved over. And that'll just be, as Eric said, that'll be used as a trailer location for some of the construction trailers. So that construction work close to you will be done by October, and then it'll pick up again when the old building is demolished in a couple of years. The contractors move out of those trailers and they rebuild the new tennis courts with the fibers shown there on the western part of the site. So that won't be that noisy, but right now I have a feeling what you're hearing is the 3 geothermal well drilling rigs that are out there
Right.
drilling 80 wells.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, again, I appreciate what you guys are seeing, and like, again, my personal experience has been, even if you don't want to say it, you always pretty much tell us like it is, which is what we need to hear, so I appreciate the frankness, guys. Thank you, all for the work you're doing. It'll be very nice when it's done, so, nice work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. Joe, I'm sorry excuse my ignorance. Are you the super on the job?
Joe is the project architect, so he's the
I'm
lead
the
architect.
Yeah.
I'm the lead landscape architect.
Okay, all right. I hope this goes to the planning board. Well, I know it does. I will say Consigli is one of the better contractors in New England, and their due diligence will be greatly appreciated. Like I said, they're one of the better of the general contractors that are in the area, and I'm glad they're on board about it. So my 2 cents helps. That's how I feel about it.
Thank you.
I joined a bit late, so maybe I missed this, but does the site plan for the new Rotary and this site plan, is there any conflicts between those, or is this plan take into account that?
So they did cover that a little bit
Yeah.
earlier.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, if you want to say something really briefly about it, that's fine, but yeah,
I plan on listening to it, so you don't need to repeat.
Well, we just to say that we've had several meetings with the DPW and the engineers designing it to coordinate the location of the off-ramp that goes up to the school. The site plan that we've developed is based upon utilizing the Rotary as part of the work. I guess that has been delayed a little bit since I think it was supposed to start 2023 in the summer. But we are counting on that being part of the work. Our site plan is designed around it. And
Okay.
we've had extensive coordination with Beta Engineering and with the DPW.
Okay.
initially not part of the enablement work, so whether or not that's delayed doesn't affect the
No.
work.
Right.
As long as it's done in 2.5 years, it doesn't bother us at all.
We hope it is.
I mean, I'll go listen, but that where the current Green Road entrance is, once the Rotary's there, is that going to close, or will that still be there?
No, it'll still be there.
It will still be
One.
there, but will be gated and for bus exits only.
Got it.
And for
Okay.
emergency access by police and fire.
Yes.
It's an emergency access road, so we don't have parents queuing on that or waiting for kids to get out of sports events or stuff like that. That's a restricted road for buses and for emergency access.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions from the board, then Pam, do you want to talk about what our next steps are?
Yes, because we don't have in-house services to review stormwater, we've sought a proposal for peer review from Haley Ward. As you know, the planning board typically utilizes niche engineering for peer review. However, they were the designer for this site plan, so that doesn't allow them obviously to review their own work. So we reached out to Haley Ward, who previously met with the planning board, and they provided us with a scope of work to review the proposal. It's quite extensive. It includes stormwater, architectural, traffic review, and obviously site plan review as well. I distributed it to the applicant late this afternoon, as well as the board members. They're ready to proceed and will attend future meetings and site visits as well.
And Pam, we sort of discussed briefly, is the scope of the review that we need done, so I know they included architectural and traffic, is that required for part of this?
A traffic report is required as part of site plan review, so if we don't find it necessary, the planning board has the ability to waive that requirement, and we do not have to have a full traffic report studied. However, we would request that they review the internal flow and egress and entrances and exits to the site to ensure that the traffic will flow smoothly and not have a negative impact on the abutting public ways.
We did have a traffic study done as part of our submissions to the MSBA during the schematic design phase. I don't know if that's of any interest to the board. If you want me to forward that to you for your use and reference, we can do that too.
Joe, yes, that would be helpful to have.
Okay, I'll do
Joe,
that.
did that include the proposed roundabout?
Yes, it did.
Okay, yeah, that'd be very interesting.
We're supposed to be getting a final report for our submission that's coming up in August. I'll ask when that's going to be completed, and I'd rather send you the final one and not the preliminary one that we had in schematic, if that's okay.
Yeah, as long as it's good.
Yep.
Pam, on
When will that
the,
be? I'm sorry, when will that be ready?
Well, we're anticipating sending it in with our package to the MSBA on the 21st of August.
Okay,
So I'll inquire with the engineer. They're also from Niche Engineering, so I'll inquire with the engineer as to when that final package will be available to us.
And Pam, so tonight, what do we need to vote on?
to move this forward to Haley Ward and to enter into contract for peer review services, I need the planning board to vote to authorize the use of peer review services and require the applicant deposit funds to cover the scope of work in the amount of $40,000 into a 53G account.
I had one question on, I looked it over. It's only including 2 meetings with the board. Is that enough? I mean, a lot of times it's back and forth. Is that 2 meetings with the planning board, or like, what was that in reference to?
That's 2 meetings to the planning board in addition to site visits
Mhm.
and 2 peer review letters with revisions.
I'm just thinking in the past, like when we deal with subdivisions, there's a lot of, I feel like there's more communication than that. Is that enough to in-person meetings, I guess, on Zoom?
I think the heaviest area of review will probably be the stormwater calculations. It depends how it's hard to say. It really depends how comprehensive the submission is. I'm not qualified to review the stormwater calculations. If the submission's pretty comprehensive, then the comments and back and forth should be minimal.
So, I mean, this is just like, I guess, the plan review, like, is there this isn't peer review for the actual construction, right? I mean, that's on them, basically.
It doesn't
Yes.
include peer review and utility installation now. And no inspections
Yeah.
in
that's what I
terms
was-
of construction.
Right. So they're basically responsible to make sure everything's up to snuff.
Yes, the planning board has historically included funds for inspectional services in their approvals historically, so that is an
Mhm.
option that you can consider.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand, like, like, for instance, where the buses drive in and out. I mean, like, in subdivisions, when a road's going to get turned over to the town, of course, we really care about the quality of the work. But like, ultimately, I don't know if it's the town or if it's weird with it being regional, how that all works. I was just trying to wonder the dividing line of what we're responsible for reviewing or not.
I think whether a project is private or public, we want to ensure that it's constructed in accordance with plans. So there should be points identified throughout construction that maybe we want witnessed by peer review. For instance, the installation of the subsurface stormwater system. So things like that we can specifically condition for inspection as you move forward with your approvals, if the board would like to consider that.
Well, that's what I was saying. You are dealing with an exceptional company. I mean, they're local, and from what I understand, they're on point. So,
Joe, you want to talk about some of the MSBA requirements and some of the reviews that they require us as part of the construction process?
Well, we've already started meeting for what we call owner architect contractor meetings, OAC meetings on site. The MSBA, Massachusetts School Building Authority, that is funding a part of this project with the town or with the district, will be starting to come to the site once the actual construction starts, when we get out of the ground. And they'll be on site probably once a month, looking at the building and the grounds as they're developed. We do have multiple reviews with the MSBA. We're required to do a peer review for structure. We're required to have analyses of the code. And we have a code consultant that's been writing a report for us that we're sending in with the the 60% CD submission. There's also a 90% CD submission and a 100% CD submission, which is the end before we go to bid. Bid packages can be allotted before those are submitted, which they have been for certain things, but there are a lot of requirements for the MSBA to be sure that we're on budget, that we're within the square footage that we're allowed, that we have the right amount of gross and net square footage, and that the right authorities, both the police and fire, as well as this entity, as well as other boards in the town, have also had the opportunity to review the plans and provide either authorization or approval for those before they go to construction. So MSBA's review process is really quite extraordinary throughout, it's, I think, kind of looked at throughout the country as being a gold standard kind of, and they're very thorough. So we, the information that we publish for these reports for the MSBA, not only the drawings and specifications, but the report itself is probably about 3 or 4 inches thick. And so it is quite extensive. There's a lot of oversight that happens from the MSBA for the logistics of the project. And then we also have commissioning agents that are required to be part of the project that are also paid for by the MSBA that do monitor variety of things, the building shell. They come out and do construction and testing on the building shell for thermal and waterproofing. And they also review the interior and energy consistency of the building. So there's a lot going on.
This is also an affidavit project, so we will have site visits from the design team.
Yeah.
Some on a monthly basis, and not only that, but we also, as required by code, we will engage a company for material testing, monitoring, compaction, concrete, structural steel welds, things like that. So lots of belts and suspenders, and full-time field rep, and full-time representation from Consigli on site. So there's a lot of checks and balances across the project and all the different disciplines.
As I said, we have the same team as we just finished Attleboro High School. We're looking forward to this project coming out as well as Attleboro did. Very successful budget-wise for a school.
Yeah, Pam, I think for now, I mean, we can just engage Haley Ward to, review the stormwater and those plans. And then kind of proceed from there. But so you need a vote from us, from the board to sorry, say it one more time, to engage Haley Ward to review.
To contract with Haley Ward to conduct peer review services for review of the site plan submission by the Neshoba Regional High School.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the board contracts with Haley Ward to perform peer review services for the construction work being done at Neshoba Regional High School.
Second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
and Austin Groner is absent. Okay, the motion passes by a vote of 5-0. And
Could
then
you let me
we,
know, Pam, if you need to have any hard copy prints made to deliver to them, or is it just electronic that you need?
in development of the scope of work, electronic copies of everything were provided. I can let you know if they request hard copies, but right now the PDFs are sufficient.
Do we need to vote to establish a 53G fund?
Yes, we need to vote, request the applicant, submit $40,000 to be entered into a 53G account to fund the peer review services that we were entering into contract with Haley Ward.
I will make a motion to set up a 53G fund for peer review for the construction of Neshoba Regional High School and request that the applicant submit $40,000 into that fund.
Second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, Pam, is there anything else that you need us to review tonight for this?
No, there was just one thing that we didn't discuss, and that was the use is exempt under the Dover Amendment as an educational use, and the building commissioner has stated that the height requirements of 30 feet are unreasonable for the proposed construction of the project. But if there are any other zoning deficiencies, we should identify them for his review, because though the use is exempt, you are still subject to zoning requirements. So things that don't meet the bylaw should be identified early on in the process, such as signage, lighting, and field locations.
What is the max height of the building?
32 feet.
And our restrictions right there, 32 feet?
I'm sorry?
And our bylaw is what, 32 feet?
32 feet is your bylaw, and there's no way to build a modern high school building within 32 feet.
Oh, but I'm
Is
saying,
that-
what is the plan for the building? That's all I was asking.
What is the what? I'm sorry again.
What is the
What
height of
is-
the building?
The
What
height,
is the height of the building?
The highest roof of the building is 50 feet at the stage of the auditorium. There's several areas of the building that are at 35 feet high, like the gymnasium, which requires certain clearances for MIAA, minimum clearances for volleyball and basketball. And that 35 feet is also in the cafeteria and the auditorium, so that we can get the right clearances for that. Typically, the floor to floor height is 14 feet. So the 2 floors to the roof are 28 feet. But then the zoning also includes mechanical equipment and roofs. And since the guidelines from the zoning also requires us to provide sloped roofs to emulate the local residential architecture, that brings us up well over 35, 38 feet for the height of the roof.
I think the main reason for that bylaw is fire apparatus, not, safety. I think
Well, right now, the town of Bolton doesn't have any fire apparatus, can
Right.
serve the existing school, and have a mutual aid, requirement with the town of Lancaster's fire department.
Mhm.
That would continue into this, this building. We've had, I think, 3 meetings with the local fire and police officials. We have another one coming up in mid-August. And that requirement has been, accepted for what we were
Okay.
doing.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if you had a building 30 feet high, town of Bolton couldn't provide a fire truck that would get there.
Right. I think the 41B, I think they're gonna have like on-site ladders or something. I forget what the final solution was for that, but. I don't know.
Okay, Pam,
Yeah, if
anything
you
else we
guys-
need to discuss
Yeah.
on this?
no, just a date to continue the meeting.
Did we set our next? We haven't set our next meeting yet, have we? This hearing, do we need to continue this, Pam, or is this just? Can we
Yes,
just put them
we-
on?
No, we can't just put it on the agenda. We should continue it to a date identified at the meeting.
I think we were initially looking at the week of August 19th. Was that correct? Or August
Yeah,
12th?
we'd said the
we-
21st.
But then Pam had a
not-
conflict,
Yeah, the conflict.
so we were gonna do the 20th or the 22nd, and Bob, I think this was a master plan review also.
Yep.
So was there a particular day that worked better, the 20th or the 22nd?
Master plan's typically on the 22nd, but I'd like to
But, I
avoid impact with the select board.
Can we do the August 28th?
Sure.
And that would be a regular Wednesday if everyone is available to attend.
That's fine.
Fine by me.
I'm clear.
And for the applicant, that's about a month away. Is that okay for you guys?
I think it will depend on Alberg and the speed at which they can get comments back to us, and also the speed we could get a chunk of money into that account to get them going.
Okay, so
Is-
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry, did
Is,
someone,
is the payment required before the contract is signed with the peer reviewer?
Yes, we can't enter into contract without available funds,
Okay, so
unfortunately.
we'll work to get you that as soon as possible.
okay, I'll make a
We
motion.
can take that offline with the district if
Mhm. Yep.
we need to, okay?
Yep.
Make a motion to continue this public meeting until August 28th.
Second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
And the meeting's continued till August 28th.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Appreciate the overview. No,
you.
it went kind of long, but appreciate all the feedback.
Thank you, and if anything comes up, please feel free to call.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was just, okay, before we adjourn, is there no way for us to get probably like an invoicing so we can go ahead and get the district to pay for that 40,000, or what's the
I can-
typical process?
We have a proposal.
Okay.
Let's see.
Is that sufficient?
Is
Yeah,
that
but
something you sent in your email, Pam?
yeah, is that
Yes.
going through, is that going paid to the town of Bolton, or is that going directly to Haley Ward?
It gets paid to the town of Bolton, and then Haley Ward will invoice us, we'll copy you and pay Haley Ward directly. Then the funds are, any remaining funds are returned at the end of planning board review.
Okay, all right.
We're also going to, I believe, amend the scope to eliminate the architectural review.
All right, thank you.
The next item on the agenda tonight is an A&R for 201 Forbush Mill Road. Creation of one additional lot. Do we have a representative? Thanks, guys.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hi, Patrick Mortimer, 201 Forbush Mill Road. I'm here if you have any questions, and good evening, everybody.
Do you wanna show us on the, or Pam, can you bring up the
I'm
The
pulling it up
plan.
right now. This property is actually located in the town of Bolton and Lancaster. Lot 3 is part of the Mortimer land that's located in Lancaster, and they're creating a lot line along the actual town line. And it creates one building lot consisting of 81,092 square feet and 200.04 feet of frontage.
So the house on the left is the current house. The one on the right's the one that was just built
Correct.
with the driveway going up.
Yes, this 201 was, lot 2 was created in 2021.
Right. And so now there's gonna be a third house down in that area.
Correct.
There's no proposed house. It's just, my mother passed away in 2022. My brother currently lives in the house in Lancaster. I live in the house in Bolton. We're looking to subdivide the Bolton land from the Lancaster deed. So I take possession of all the Bolton land and he takes possession of all the Lancaster land in the house. There's no house proposed at all for the middle lot.
But you're dividing it out just in the future for potentially adding a house.
Just dividing it off of the Lancaster deed. So my brother can deal with the Lancaster and I can deal with the Bolton.
Oh, I see. So the line that's to the right of the cursor now, that's already there.
Yeah, so the Lancaster land
Yeah,
has
yeah.
the Lancaster portion and the Bolton portion in the deed. So he
Got
paid dual taxes to two towns. We're trying to just eliminate that.
I got it. But so that lot 3 though is a buildable lot. Just, it meets our shapes and
Yes.
frontage and everything.
And it's fully contained within Bolton.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah, looks good.
straightforward to me, no issues.
Yeah.
Does anyone on the board have questions?
No,
No,
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the A&R for 201 Forbush Mill Road.
second,
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr.
aye,
The endorsement is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Good luck.
thank you.
Next item agenda is an A&R for 422 Still River Road. And this is a creation of an unbuildable parcel. Do we have someone representing the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. This is Seth Donahoe with Dillison Roy.
Hey, Seth.
Hi, so I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Black Pearl Development Group. They are the current owners of 422 Still River Road. And as you mentioned, we've submitted an A&R plan to allow the existing dwelling to meet the zoning requirements. And there'll be some remaining land, which is a non-building parcel. Would you like me to bring the plan up?
That would be great. Thank you.
Oh, I have it here.
Oh, Pam has it for me there. So what you're seeing is there's the existing dwelling, that's number 422 Still River Road. We're just south of Vaughn Road here. And then
This
on the
is
other,
the house you're renovating or expanding, I believe. I drive, this one's right near my house.
correct, yeah, it was renovated, so a well in conformance with the Board of Health requirements was put in, as well as a conforming septic system in the front of the house at this point. And there's some remaining land with the parcel, so the proposed lot 1 will exceed the minimum 80,000 square feet and 200 feet of frontage. And parcel A is just over 71,000 square feet. It does not have enough land to be a building lot, and it's been labeled as such. So I believe it's a fairly straightforward A&R plan, but if the board has any questions, I would be happy to address them.
Are you planning to do anything with this lot?
My client at this time, I think as he will be selling the house that he's recently renovated, he just didn't want to lose future opportunity if somebody were to have extra land available to combine with that. But that's not on the table right now.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have questions? So this is creating a non-buildable lot, so they can't put a house on here as is. It's still considered a taxable property as far as the town is concerned, but it's no longer part of, I guess that's lot 1. So any questions from the board?
Not here.
What's the point of doing this?
He just has extra land. So the 422 Still River Road, it was an older house that was fixed up. It will be sold. And this way we have a conforming lot and there's extra land for future if an opportunity were to ever arise.
Okay.
So I imagine this reduces the tax burden a little bit on the house he's gonna sell because it doesn't have as much property. In the future, if, you know, possibly they wanted to sell that land back to that owner or carve off land from a adjoining property, they could possibly do that. But either way, this parcel, the new parcel meets our zoning regulations, so. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, then, oh, sorry, let me just grab the number. I will make a motion to approve the A and R for 422 Still River Road.
Second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
The board approves the A and R by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Take care.
So,
Design review.
Next agenda item is the reappointment of the design review board members. Pam, I don't have their names in front of me, but just
That's
for
me.
the new members on the board, so design review board is a appointed board that reports to us, consisting of people that provide feedback to the planning board on kind of the architectural design of houses and buildings. So they'll, you know, give input on structure and windows and I don't know, Eric maybe can explain it a little bit better, but we don't utilize them that often, but it's just another volunteer board in town.
Yeah, just to just to make sure that whatever new construction aesthetically meets the look and feel of Bolton.
Have they had any hand in the high school?
You don't
No,
believe-
not that I'm aware of.
I mean,
Should they?
the scope of that project is enormous. I mean, that is,
Yeah.
that, you know. So no, I don't think we should engage them in that.
well, I think it's like the downtown area where you have where the candle company moved over, and did they have any input on how those like 3 buildings look like?
Which buildings, Jim?
I want to say that one that's
I
being,
think he's talking 711 through 713 Main.
yeah.
I don't
Which-
think we triggered it because for that particular, I don't know, they're just rebuilding it. It's like a private property, so I don't think we had an opportunity.
No, we definitely didn't. I don't even think they didn't come before us. They were
Right.
a ZBA probably.
Believe they
So,
just went to the ZBA.
Okay, all right.
So what have they done?
They did the bank. I know that.
Hmm.
I
Clinton
think they
Savings
were
Bank.
involved in environmental pools renovation. Is that correct?
That's correct. They looked at there was gonna be a 40B at the corner of Vaughn Hill
Mhm.
Road and Still River that didn't end up becoming a 40B or just became a single house, but I think they looked at that.
In another life of the Bolton Office Park, when there was going to be an assisted living facility, they did a pretty extensive review of that. I remember.
So they haven't been at all involved in the high school.
This is the first time that they've come before the planning board,
High school.
the high school, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
This
it looks different. It looks, in my eyes, it looks good. It's a different layout than I've ever seen before.
I mean, the high school's gone through a lot of different design reviews in the past few years, right? That project only came to us because it's in Bolton and it triggered site review by the select board, which they send to us.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Consigli is a good company, so I mean, we're actually in really good hands with them. I feel, in my experience, and but it's I was looking at the renditions that they had, and it was like, okay, that's different than normal. You know,
It's beautiful.
like,
I mean, so hang on, we're getting a little off topic here. So
sorry,
this
you're right,
this
you're right.
agenda item is to reappoint the three members to a 1-year term on
The-
DRB.
The current members are Michelle Tuck, Danielle Spicer, Natalie Gabrielle. I contacted all three prior to the meeting and they are interested in being reappointed.
So I will make a motion to appoint the existing current members of the design review board as named by Pam Harding to a 1-year term on the design review board.
Second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
Their appointments are approved by a vote of 5-0.
Mike, let me just ask one question about that. They are brought into a project at the pleasure of the planning board. Is there any criteria to establish when that might occur and under what circumstances and with what type of project? You know, if they were looking at the assisted living facility, which was quite substantial and had never been involved in a high school, I'm curious about why that didn't occur.
Like I said, I mean, they report to the planning board. This is the first time that the high school has come to the planning board. Now, from a personal point of view, I think it's very late in the high school process to invoke the DRB to go and change anything with it. And I know a lot of people have worked very hard already on the high school. And the role that we have, I think, is sort of unique in that we're kind of being brought into this process because that's what our bylaws say. Now, could we invoke the DRB in this? Probably, but I don't see a reason to do that.
Yeah, I think like in the assisted living facility, I mean, they were, came to us with preliminary plans and it was very early on. And, the DRB could affect change, when it was, able to be made. I agree with Mike. We're just so far down the path that I don't want to be a cog and I don't want to hold up the works.
No, I don't want to hold up the works either, but having been involved in a number of the presentations and hearings, I didn't see anybody, frankly, other than great advocates for the high school who had an architectural or design background. So, lesson learned. I think if we get into this in the future, we need to make sure that we have the appropriate people with the appropriate professional experience and perspective brought in to provide ancillary guidance over and above your average citizen. And I don't consider myself to be anything more than an average citizen. And I, as an engineer, have always had my arguments with architects, but they do have some good ideas.
Yeah.
No, but I think that the people that have been, hired, there have been multiple proposals on this and people have, I don't know if they voted, but people on the committees have certainly reviewed a lot of iterations of what are now the final designs for the school. So, I mean, it's not that no one's reviewed them.
I agree that lots of people have reviewed them. I just questioning the qualifications, professional qualifications of the people outside of the organization that put it together, who provided an independent perspective. It's over, guys, it's over. But I think we need to think about this in the future, that if we ever get into a big project like this in the future, regardless of whether it's a school or it's a substantial economic development project, that we think about bringing them in reasonably early without, and to Eric's point, without adding another cog in the bureaucracy. But if you get people in early and develop, a charrette perspective, I think it works a whole lot better. End of discussion. I'll get off my soapbox.
Just to address what triggers it, it's any project that requires special permit or site plan review that is business or mixed use.
So this wouldn't trigger it then because it's
Well, it requires a site plan, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really
not
classify
business and
as
it's not mixed
business and
use.
mixed use.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
My question has been answered. Thank you.
But you can argue it because under site plan review, it says that design review criteria can be made in subsection G. So
No, and my
you could have
point
argued
is,
it. Yeah.
I'm a certified charrette manager, and on a number of occasions, I've taken great exception to people making recommendations in charrettes, and I've regretted that in the end because their insight was far better than mine. So again, we may want to think about that going forward.
Well, I mean, one final thing that I'll say is that this project is so unlike a bank or other projects like that, where so many people have had input into it up to this point, that it's not like we're just leaving it. It's not like we just left it up to the developer and said, build what you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in this case, people in town voted, based on renderings of what the school would look like. So I think that's important. But okay, so those 3 members have been reappointed. Next item is approval of minutes from April and May, and those were in our packet and they looked fine for me. Assuming everyone had a chance to look at those. If so, I will make a motion to approve the minutes from May 8th, 2024. I'll do them separately, Pam.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll,
Michael, you were absent, so you're gonna have to abstain from this vote, just to give you forewarning. Michael Gore,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
and Jim Barr.
Aye.
May 8th minutes passed by a vote of 4-0.
And I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 24th, 2024.
Second.
Bob, you were absent from that meeting, so you'll have to abstain from voting. Michael Gore?
Aye.
Michael Lau?
Aye.
Eric Nyland?
Aye.
James Barr?
Aye.
Minutes passed by a vote of 4-0.
Okay. That's it for our formal agenda. First off, Pam, anything you want to review? Anything coming our way?
Yeah, I wanted to review with the board we had. I just need a second to pull up the pictures, but we had an application come in for a driveway permit. And it's on Green Road, which is a scenic way. It's a Zaka property. And there's just a few boulders where the driveway crosses, so I wanted the board to review it to see if you found a scenic road permit was necessary. Just give me a second to share. And I'll show you the application.
So this is one of the 6 lots that we just carved out, or is on the other side of the road?
No, it's one of 3 that we just released under 61A.
Oh, okay.
And so this tree will be retained and the driveway's going in where this flag is. Can you see my cursor on the screen?
Yep.
And so there's just a few boulders, they're scattered. I wouldn't even consider it a wall to the right of this. You can see them more closely on this picture here. So there's 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 boulders that are along the way. And here's a picture of the area and what's abutting it. So in my opinion, it didn't really trigger a scenic road public hearing, but I wanted the board to review it before I made any sort of official determination to the applicant. And here's the plan for the home going in and the driveway location. As you can see, it's to the east of the oak tree.
And so they're not taking out any, they're taking out the small trees that are right there, but those don't trigger the shade tree hearing because of their size.
Yeah, it has to be over 6. I didn't see any trees there that are over 6 inches, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that certainly doesn't look like a
Yeah, there's nothing in the
Doric.
public way.
Stone wall to me, so.
Yeah, if that's a stone wall, it's a real bad one.
Yeah. It was at one time, I'm sure, but I checked
Or-
historical aerial photos just to make sure it wasn't a recent kind of break in the
Rearrangement.
wall, and it's been like that for quite some time, so it wasn't
Yeah.
anything recently done.
Well done. Well done.
So yeah, I don't see the need for a scenic road hearing for that, but if board members have other thoughts, please share them.
I don't.
Neither do I.
What's that, Jim?
I said neither do I.
Okay, great. Do you want to vote on this, Pam?
Yeah, just to clarify, I can send him a letter just to prove that document that the board reviewed it and didn't find it subject to the scenic road bylaw.
And sorry, you said this is 50, what number Green Road is this?
There is no number assigned to it yet. I would just refer to it as Lot 1, Green Road owned by the Zekas at this time.
I make a motion that the planning board does not require a scenic road hearing for the Zeka property located at Lot 1 on Green Road,
Second.
or the proposed driveway.
Oh, second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Eric Nyland,
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, anything else, Pam, that you wanted to go over?
A draft of the open space plan is available on the Conservation Commission website if anyone wants to take a look. It will require your review, so we'll give you an official presentation of the plan for vote and forward to the state. And we also have to send it to our regional planning agency for review and approval as well. I'll forward you the link. That might be easier.
Our next meeting is scheduled for August 28th. And so the proposal for that is to have the school back on the agenda. Bob, this will be the master plan presentation as well?
Yes.
Okay. And so Pam, that's going to be a little over a month. Do you anticipate, I mean, I know you can't foresee the future, but I mean, is there anything else coming up that might be a hearing that I imagine those 2 agenda items alone could be
Yep.
a lot?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we'll have a contract with peer review funds secured by the 28th with comments to review. It seems kind
Okay.
of quickly, but
Yeah.
but
My concern is just that we're not blocking them on anything. I mean,
Mhm.
and it sounds like we're not. So,
We have to have a scenic road hearing for the South Bolton Road Phosphor that was approved for the Martha subdivision.
Oh, right.
The scenic road part of the project was never approved. And they also are coming forward at some point with their common driveway, though I haven't received that application yet. I have received the request and tree list for the scenic road hearing.
How many trees is that?
There's 6 trees. One's pretty substantial
Okay.
oak tree at the roadway entrance. I think I don't have the diameters with me, but
And is August 28th okay for that? As far as,
I think it could be. I just get worried about putting too much on the agenda for the night.
yeah. But I mean, we have to respond to it within a certain period of time, right?
No, those don't have a time limit on them.
Oh, okay. Okay, so hopefully we should, yeah, so we shouldn't need a meeting between now and then, basically. Okay. Anything else that people want to discuss? No, hearing nothing. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll see you in August. Have a great rest of your summer. And Pam, if anything comes in on the high school or whatever, just, forward it out to the board.
Okay, I will definitely do that right away. I will need someone to come in to sign the A&Rs
Okay,
that we
I'll do
voted
that.
to approve. Okay,
Let me know when they're ready and I'll come in.
okay, they're ready.
Thanks, Pam.
Great,
See
thank
everybody
you.
later.
Great,
Hey,
have a good
Pam?
night. Thank
Oh.
you. Have a good night. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.